right, welcome kings and queens. Listen, this episode came in hot and it landed well for me for all of the right reasons. Seriously. Finally, after what, 3.5 years, the producers stopped protecting Leticia and Martell and gave us a real clip. Really? Y'all, think about this for a moment. They have been robbing us of seeing what life is really like between the two of them for the past 3 years. They have been protecting this couple. And finally, as we begin to wrap up the season, they decide to give us just a little bit of who they really are. But let me hold my horses before jumping in. And let me find my manners so we can get on with this show. For those of you who are just tuning in, or if you're new to the channel, welcome to the palace. I am Queen Shiba. I cover a variety of hot topics specific to reality television, but most importantly, I hone in on the psychological and the behavioral traits of the Black experience. There are so many things that were going through my head as I was watching this. I'm like, man, they should have called this episode Spilled Milk. Because not only was Leticia showing her true colors, baby, you crying over spilled milk. So, one thing I've noticed is both Leticia and Wanda had the exact same reaction when they thought their men reached out to Melody. Or when they heard that their men had reached out to Melody. Both of them became explosive, jealous, and vicious. Both of them. Exact same reactions. Miss Wanda went all the way there. So when she heard that her baby daddy was in Melody's DM, she became extremely explosive, right? She became very vicious, even insulting a little child. All of that. So I want you to pay attention to that. Like mother, like daughter. The apple does not fall far from the tree. This lady, Leticia, could not conceal her envy and her jealousy over Melody. I was shocked. And it's not often that you can shock me with something because, baby, we already knew it as the viewers, right? But she kept it pimping. She kept it real player. But baby, this time her slipped and all of that came out. And not only did it come out, the girl could not control herself. Like her husband was trying to reel her back in. Her husband was attempting to take the lead to squash this shit, right? Because boo-boo, you're making yourself look really bad on camera right now. Come on, Tisha. Let's do this. And I don't even think he was trying to brush it under the rug. He was trying to recover very quickly so that we wouldn't see who she really was. But he couldn't. She refused to listen to him. And that envy and that jealousy took over her soul. Okay? She could not display a level of calm, emotional maturity, nor could she simply walk away. And I don't mean physically, mentally from that conversation. And be able to say to herself as a healthily married woman, you know what? I'm going to come back to this later. I got my man right here. The cameras are rolling. We're going to talk about this. We're just not going to do it here. I was shocked. I think it's safe to say, in my opinion, Leticia hates Melody. Wow. Melody, keep this broad out of your presence. Don't play nice. We not meeting up for nothing. I think you'd be better off keeping this lady out of your presence. This lady hates you. This scene explained for me everything over the past 4 years. Her mask fell all the way off. Like, I'm still shocked that this lady behaved like this on national television. Because she's always on the internet sharing that she has no problem with her man making decisions and leading their household. Girl, Girl, this episode completely contradicted anything that has ever come out of your lying mouth. Girl, you so fake about your marriage, what you believe, what's really going on in your home. No, ma'am. That man tried to lead you to the path of righteousness, to save face. And you Allow, like, your jealousy, your envy, girl. Ooh. Anywho, Leticia is Wanda. Now, I've gained more insight into why Marcel doesn't particularly like or appear to like to want to be around Leticia. She needs to check that jealousy. I don't know about you, but you know what? Let me ask y'all this. Did y'all feel that? Like, share it in the comments. Because I felt like that I could feel that intensity and the rage coming through. Like, I kept rewinding. I was checking body language. I was checking tone. I was checking her. She completely changed. All of that docile, tender stuff that she pretended to be. She got straight hood. Don't play with me about no jealousy. I was like, whoa, who is this? Did y'all feel that? Because Leticia, I'm going to keep it real with you, honey. You know, just like the rest of us, that Marcel has a sweet spot for Melody. You played yourself. He wasn't playing with you. You played yourself by having this conversation. You can't stop talking about Melody. And at this point, it's giving obsessive compulsion. You know, she seems to want to insult attractive women, particularly lighter tone women, because she took a dib at Sheree. And she tried to clown Sheree as an older woman, using words like Martell is dating a cougar. Okay, Leticia. Okay, ladies. When you say things like that about another woman, you open the door for yourself to be reviewed and or assessed by other women and to be judged by other women. Once you open that door, you can't close it. Now you become fair game. And although Sheree is an older woman, Leticia, you can't hold a candle nor a stick to her. So to be honest with you, Leticia, your body is more like a cougar than Sheree's is. Okay? So let's not attack Sheree for her age. She's a beautiful woman. You couldn't stand next to her. And keep in mind, this ain't really about Melody, y'all. Okay? There's a cause and there's an effect. This is about Leticia and who she is as a woman and the dynamics of her marriage. Take Melody out the freaking picture. Leticia treated Kyra from Love and Marriage. She treated Kyra from Ready to Love very bad behind Marcel. Y'all better roll the tapes. When they hosted that event in Houston, yeah, Kyra went on record behind that. Leticia was nasty and ugly. And ladies, let me tell you something. This is what happens when you stay in a marriage that is demeaning to you, where you get cheated on, dogged the hell out, and you stay just to say you got a man. This is how it impacts you. Yeah, you may get those years under your belt, and you can walk around and say, I've been married 20 years or I've been married. But baby, where's your happiness? Where's your glow? Where's your camaraderie for other women, for yourself? Okay? Because that misery is oozing out. And I believe that Leticia may need and or require Marceau to attack women and verbally assassinate Melody in order to prove his love to her. Okay? She did it while her mother was acting a damn fool at Madani. You don't remember when she stood in the middle? I did a whole assessment on why she stood in the middle of Melody and Miss Wanda. She wasn't worried about Miss Wanda. She knew Melody would never touch her mother. Melody's not that kind of woman. What she was doing is she was trying to force the hand of Marcel. Go back and pull my tapes. I've said the same thing. I'm pretty consistent about the way I feel. But every now and then, if they show up good, I give them credit. But yeah, Leticia wants to force the hand of her husband. Okay? I've said this for quite some time. Leticia acts out whenever Melody is around to force Marcel to choose her. How can you be a pick-me with your husband? It's almost like she's stuck in her childhood and she's craving the validation and the acknowledgement that her mother, Miss Wanda, wasn't capable of giving. Y'all, that's a horrible requirement and expectation as a wife. That's not it. You don't want to live like that. That's not the kind of pressure you want to put on a man, because pressure causes pipes to burst, baby. By the way, I hope y'all are following me. I hope y'all are blowing this chat up, because this was a hot episode, okay? By the way, did anyone notice that the date night was in the middle of the day? I'll wait. Because you told Marcel, don't play with you. Don't play with us. Don't play with us. That's a lie. Y'all don't have date night with each other. I know he started off, now we schedule life around dates. Stop lying. They are lying, and I'm going to prove it to you. So first of all, do a better job of concealing the cracks in your marriage. If you want to present a perfect marriage and not a real marriage, then do a better job of concealing the cracks. You should have shot that scene at night. Okay? That's the first thing. At least let it be night in order to complement the phrase date night. I don't believe they have dates at all. I don't think they spend that much time together, but I'll get to that in a minute. So, Marcel will now, and don't be surprised if you see this, Marcel will now have to start insulting Mel in order to prove his love to Leticia. Don't be shocked if you see him going at Melody a little bit more intense than he has in the past. So this is a point, I feel like, a point of contention for Marcel, because based on my perspective, I feel like Marcel actually would like for Leticia to have a level of confidence that Melody possesses, but she doesn't. I believe that he probably wishes Leticia would show up the way that Melody shows up when Carlos insinuated that Melody was not enough for Martell during that reunion. Melody didn't blink an eye. She didn't become emotional, nor did she break a sweat. And she said, I'm more than enough. That's, in my opinion, men love confident women, even when you're not in a moment. We can talk about it later. But you broke down, girl. You broke down. You forced your man to choose. And every time you do, he does not choose you. Stop doing that. He walked out on you. Stop doing that. Let me back up. In her conversation with Marcel, Melody showed up in ways that Leticia wishes she could. Melody listened. She let him speak. She processed what he said. She didn't interrupt him. She waited patiently, and she asked clarifying questions. She asked questions not to argue or defend her point of view, but she asked questions to gain more understanding. And then she wrapped that shit up like a boss is supposed to, like a lady is supposed to. Because Melody came with the attitude of, here's what's going to happen moving forward. In my personal opinion, every time Marcel engages or interacts with Melody, from here on out, he's going to probably be somewhat self-conscious about Leticia's toxic and jealous response. She couldn't let that shit go. She took that with her the next day to Kimmy's home. We'll come back to it. Did y'all not catch that? Let it go, girl. Leave it at the bar. You went home. You remember you said you finna go get your kids. Sleep on it. Release it. It's a new day. But back to what I was saying. As a result, Marcel will probably make it a point to disassociate himself from Melody, even if it means picking a fight with her, to prove a point, to make Leticia feel better. Marcel mentioned in his confessional that I didn't like this. So as he was wrapping up, or after they wrapped up the meeting, he mentioned in his confessional that if Mark, his brother, now says anything about Melody, then the ball would be in Melody's court. I think the hell not. I don't think so. Mark is your responsibility because you brought him onto the show. Mark is a liability to both you and your family and the producers. This has nothing to do with Melody. So please, and let's not assign that responsibility to her directly and or indirectly. That's on you, bro. I felt like Melody handled herself like a professional lady should during the conversation. Take notes, Leticia. Because when you had your fake business chat with Martell, all you did was gossip. And that's why your husband is sweet on Melody. Marceau has a load of admiration and tenderness for Melody, something he's yet to display towards Leticia. And for her to be so happy and minding her business, how you know what we saying on YouTube? You try to be funny and say you were trying to be funny and say that the YouTubers are going crazy and wild regarding Martell dating a cougar. Do you know what we say about you? Huh? All right. So anywho, I'll tell you, what we're saying is your husband is sweet on Melody, and we think you know this because of your behavior. We're also saying that Melody, I'm saying since you're tuning into YouTube, so we're also saying that Melody will always be a target and a source of envy and jealousy and resentment for you. Okay? And your husband hinted at his why. He hinted that he doesn't like how you engage or your thought process around how you handle conflict. Okay? And I can't help but to wonder and question, what do y'all think? Do you think her way of handling conflict and what do you feel like what he was referring to was she behaves like Wanda and her way doesn't work? Because he did say, your way has never worked. Trust me, Tisha, I got you. I got you. You don't even trust that your husband got you. So stop saying we're trying to break up your marriage. We're not. That's all I got for that one. Child, let's go to the scene between Martell and Chris Fletcher. First of all, oh Lord, this was embarrassing. This was so embarrassing. Lord have mercy. I felt Chris's uncomfortableness. Like Martell is out of his league. Like you come, this is like the second or third time you've come to Chris Fletcher with some BS and gossip. You can't afford what he was showing you. And I'm not even trying to clown you based on that, right? But stop that. Stop trying to place yourself in rooms with people that you can't stand next to. Chris looked very uncomfortable speaking with Martell. Good thing he had on those sunglasses. Martell is out of his league. I feel like when Martell was saying, oh, Chris wants me and Melody or hopes me and Melody get back together, I'm sure he does. Because he really doesn't have a need for you. He really doesn't have a need to rub elbows with you. Because you out here looking real bad in these streets, producing babies by a side dish of coleslaw. Chris wants you to get back with Melody because she is on his status. She is on his level. Otherwise, there's really not a need for him to be talking with you, Martell. Your wine ain't going nowhere. You missed that bus. Your uncle had every right to be upset with you. You mentioned your grandmother, his mother, and you said, oh, you forgetting her name was a mistake. No, it wasn't a mistake. It was a moment. It was a moment that you tried to use her name for clout by naming your wine after her. You used it for clout, try to manipulate us and pull at our heartstrings for an emotional reaction on national television. And it flopped. The moment has come and gone, and the wine has flopped. The crowd has left from both of your events. So what's up with the wine? Okay, exactly. And I'm sure Chris Fletcher thinks the same thing when he's being invited to shoot scenes with an unsuccessful man pretending to be a business partner or a business person. That's all I got for that. That was horrible. I feel like they wasted Chris's time. Sorry about that, Chris. I'm going to apologize on the behalf of this show. Wasting your damn time. Let's get to the scene at Kimmy's house. Martell was very hesitant to share how he met Sheree. Kimmy caught him off guard with, how did y'all meet? He said it was a mutual friend. It was through a mutual friend. Listen, I only know one person that knows Cass of Love and Marriage Huntsville and Cass from Bravo. And I think that mutual friend was Carlos King. Yep, I do. And I'm also glad that Melody broke his potato head ass in check and she got him right when she said she needed to check her schedule. Because how you going to go run back from being on vacation with me and your children and run back and take my business to a woman who's, child, who the world refers to as coleslaw? How you going to talk about my medical business? This is like, he's messy. That's right, Mel. Since he want to be messy with that lady that he had a baby by, don't support anything he does. Let her build him up. Now, tell her that. Tell her how you need sales for that wine. Since you want to tell her everything else, Martell. But let's move on. Did y'all hear Leticia say, I haven't seen this Marcel in a while? Because he was helping Kimmy cook. Maurice, how come you didn't help? That's just a side note. But I was wondering, why did Marcel have to step in? The only thing I can think of is maybe it was a kind gesture and that he volunteered. But that's it. That's the third or fourth time that Leticia has made reference to these scenes being staged. Because if this was everyday life for you and your husband, why are you shocked? You did it at the therapy getaway while he was cooking that bacon. You did it in this scene. You did it during your first date night. I think it was 3 episodes ago. And you did it in Destin when you asked Martell to take your son fishing, which is very suspect to me because that's a huge indicator that Marcel spends little to no time in the home. But I've been telling y'all that a long time ago, that I picked up on that between Leticia and Marcel as a married woman myself. I had to pause and say, do these people actually like each other? They don't seem to interact with each other very much based on some of the things that she says on camera. And maybe these dates, these cooking scenes are just for the cameras. You know, maybe he's doing this to get a paycheck. Leticia, I'm worried for you. And the reason why I say I'm worried for you, well, I'll get to that. So I wouldn't be shocked if Marcel uses black as an excuse to leave the house early in the morning and then returns to the house by the time she's sound asleep. Being able to like avoid any and all interactions with her. This is the part I was going to say a couple of seconds ago when I said I'm worried for her. Leticia, I'm worried for you because I wonder if Marcel is actually bidding his time until your children hit a particular age. See, while you're so busy focusing on Melody, if that's what he's doing, you're going to kick yourself in the butt because you didn't notice the warning. I'll tell you now, and this is very tough and rough to say, that man doesn't appear to like you, not to be confused with love. I noticed during the dinner, prior to Martell arriving and prior to Melody arriving, the Scotts referred to the Holts as they and all of them. which is a very detached way to address people. Me personally, if I'm not feeling you, you're not coming to my house, you're not breaking bread. So I really don't understand how these people sit in front of the Holts when they really don't like them. Even Kimmy followed suit with the they. So when we think about the other women on the show, Tisha is more gossipy and less developed emotionally than the rest of the women. Because I noticed that Tisha started the gossip in this scene, just like she does in every other scene. Tisha and Destiny get on well. They get on well based on their emotional immaturity. I believe Tisha has ruined just about every moment this season with mess. Let me name them. Let me name them off for you. Kimmy's house. When she walked in, she talked about some mess. Okay, talking about how her husband met with Melody. The Galentine's event. Date night with Marcel. The collective conversation when they all came together to talk about healthy boundaries, not talking bad about each other. She brought up mess. The event in Houston with the Ready to Love crew, she was rude to another cast member simply because the woman was attractive. She ruined a reunion moment between Melody and Destiny. And it's just too many for me to overlook and not assess her as an instigator and or a very, very contentious and jealous woman. So here's my message. Dear producers, please keep the cameras rolling. Please keep the cameras on these two. Let us see the raggedy cracks in their marriage like you've shown us with the Holts. Stop protecting them. Air their dirty laundry out just like you did with everyone else.